Hi. I'm recording this video after I've recorded the last video. So yeah, we're watching the horrifying true story of Jeffrey Epstein, me and my friend Bailey, and he's got his own Twitch, I'll link in the bio. So you can check him out and all that. Yeah.
Trafficker. Jeffrey Epstein moved effortlessly among presidents, princes, Nobel laureates, and tech billionaires. He dined with arms dealers and media moguls with rumored intelligence ties. But was it charm and wealth that opened those doors, or something darker behind the facade? Today on the Infographics Show, we're going beyond the headlines to uncover the...
Alright, Bailey, hot take. What do you think of Jeffrey Epstein?
Me?
Yeah, what's your opinion on this guy, bro?
Sinister.
Sinister. Right.
Yeah,
But he
yeah.
did eat babies, so...
Yeah.
It's a bit mad.
That's anything. Cuckoos right there. Can't see the cuckoos right there.
What if you went to his island, do you think?
Oh, hell yeah.
No, but you gotta think about it, it was cool at the time.
Yeah. I would have went. It was cool at the time.
Yeah, it was, but like...
It's like
You
saying,
got-
would you go to a Diddy party?
Yeah, like... Because it was like glorified, like, it wasn't really... Like, it
You
wasn't...
mean the close by, like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
real Jeffrey Epstein. On Saturday, July 6th, 2019, in a joint FBI...
Wait, it was
NYPD
2019. That's really like short. That was really close.
It was 2012.
sting.
I thought it was way
Agents
earlier.
took a sledgehammer to the door of Epstein's
Oh, no,
$77
2012 is
million
when
Manhattan
everything started
townhouse,
happening, like, the
and to
conspiracy
the
started
illusion he had built around himself.
What? Say it again, sorry.
I'm pretty sure 2012 or somewhere around there was when the conspiracy and stuff came out.
I'm gonna have to cut this bit out, by the way, because all I can hear is fucking Dale's. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop my screen share. I'm watching Dale's screen share and I can hear myself through the mic. Alright, ready?
Yeah.
The opulent high-tech mansion, then the most expensive single private home in New York. They found thousands of lurid images, a cache of photos tracking Epstein's decades of abuse.
Yeah, there's
sexual
like this email. Have you seen it? Like Gmail. If you put it into like your browser, if you put Gmail up,
Yeah.
it'll show you all like the case files and all the emails he had. Like you're in the email, his email. It's really
Really?
fuck. Yeah. Wait, I'll try. I'll.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get copyrighted, bro. Yeah, so like this, look. I can't show much of this. Like, obviously, you can go to the site yourself and see, but like you've got like some wild shit going on, bro.
That's how I thought it was like hard to access.
Nah, bro, you get all this shit just straight away and all the emails, and then I swear, like if you go to like the waffle and then you go to like J photos, yeah.
Yes.
You can see
Yeah.
like you get what I mean, like, and then you got Amazon, and you can see everything like you ever bought and shit like that. It's crazy.
That's insane.
Sexualized objects were everywhere.
Yeah.
That's
explicit
insane.
paintings, provocative statues, a massage table, sex toys, and bottles of lubricant.
Whoa.
A first edition of
Wait,
Lolita.
that-
In his office,
What?
What was that?
Epstein's decades of abuse. Sexualized objects were everywhere. Explicit paintings, provocative statues, a massage table, sex toys, and bottles of lubricant. On the shelves,
Okay,
a first edition
do you
of
think Diddy and Epstein would have been friends?
No, it was like proven. Like Diddy didn't go to Epstein's island. And Epstein didn't go to his parties for some fucking reason. I don't know why. I saw it on TikTok not
Had
long
a
ago.
competition.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Who could ruin the most lives? Like.
Yeah.
Lolita.
Alright, keep doing it.
In his office, the Marquis de Sade's The Misfortunes of
The
Virtue.
competition
These
there.
weren't just
Yeah, literally.
eccentric collector's items, they were clues. But more revealing was the mountain of CDs and hard drives, clear evidence of Epstein's perversions, and possibly leverage for blackmail. There were framed
Blackmail?
photographs showing him with tech titans Elon Musk and Bill Gates. In one frame, a dollar bill signed by Gates himself with a cryptic message scrawled
Wait,
across
so
it.
Bill Gates was involved?
Yeah, like everybody was
It was not everyone. Like you got some celebrities who weren't involved. Like.
I was
Apparently
wrong.
Rock.
Other photos put Epstein alongside Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, former U.S. President Bill Clinton, President Donald Trump, British billionaire Richard Branson, Pope John Paul II,
Mick Jagger!
Fidel Castro.
What?
Even the public intellectual Noam Chomsky, a who's who of global influence, posing with a man concealing one of the darkest secrets of the modern era. Security cameras dotted room after room, and those were just the ones you could see. A victim later said the house was wired top to bottom with hidden cameras feeding a central security room. It was hard not to wonder if Epstein recorded powerful people in compromising situations. One New York Times reporter later wrote that Epstein had boasted, off the record, about being a collector of dirt on the world's high and mighty. And as if it couldn't get any stranger...
Wait, so technically, if they had access to, like, his files, well, they do, but they haven't released them all, couldn't they just... Why has no arrest been made if he's got all this dirt and stuff? That's what I'm wondering, mostly.
He's dead.
No, I know he's dead, but, like, the people involved... the people involved,
Yeah,
right? You know what I mean?
You know what I was thinking?
What?
So, it's his island, right?
Yeah.
I thought he would have, like, his own law.
His own law?
Yeah.
Well, no, because it's not really a country, is it? It's just...
It's his island,
he bought it, you know what I mean?
On the island there is, you can't go to there in that.
I mean,
Priority.
that's
thought he
if
had
he
his own
put,
law.
like, laws in place, but I don't think he did. I think it was literally, oh, everyone come. You know what I mean? Because that's why, like, Elon... Was it Elon who said? Yeah. Elon
You
wasn't
can't
allowed
just
to
you
go.
can't just go there. You have to be invited there. He has to invite you there.
Yeah, how do you know all this, bro?
I've watched a documentary on it.
Yeah, okay,
Yo,
boy. Yeah, okay,
most
boy.
of the time-
Yeah, okay.
Nah, I've been to the island. I've been to the island, right, you know?
Yeah.
House displayed a large painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress and red high heels.
Oh,
a
cute.
nod to the Monica Lewinsky scandal. It was later falsely rumored that Epstein also owned a painting of George W. Bush by the same artist, showing him in the Oval Office with a paper airplane beside toppled Jenga blocks.
Brilliant.
A reference to 9/11.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Oh, that's okay. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's outrageous. That can't be real.
Anyway, that's actually
Oh, I shouldn't laugh. For fucking hell.
For the truth, one thing was undeniable. Epstein had a dark and unsettling sense of humor. And he was very, very rich. The Manhattan townhouse was just one of many properties. He owned a 70-acre private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, Little St. James. Better known
Yeah,
as Epstein
everyone
Island.
knows Epstein
There,
fucking Island,
according
bro.
to workers and victims, the rich and powerful mingled freely with beautiful women. In 2023, an American financier...
But this guy's Googling it. There's no way.
No, he had a
I'm not
he had a
understood.
business.
Yeah, but what was
And
his
then
business?
he-
Because you'd think he'd be like a drug dealer, like some sort of drug lord or
He-
smuggling
No,
something.
he managed
he got a lot
high
of
profile
money.
billionaires as tax and that.
Is that what he
Ah,
did?
Yeah.
Altogether, right? Okay. So we got fucking Google in the call.
Getting famous off that is insane, though.
Yeah, he was British too, man.
Oh,
You'd think he'd be American, but no, apparently he was British.
It's where he had started work on a
oh,
compound.
actually, do you know what's crazy about that? He's British, right?
Yeah.
I hear that. Doing the Queen and stuff.
Yeah, bro. Apparently the Queen went there, didn't he? Didn't she?
No, I hear they eat babies.
What? Yeah, bro. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, bro. They ate babies. That's crazy.
Dude, that too.
Like- That's some breezy shit, bro.
they live long for a reason.
Right, we yapping now.
He was expanding at the time of his 2019 arrest. In New Mexico, he held a 7,500-acre ranch that he named Zorro. His modes of transport
W
weren't
name,
just
can't lie.
luxury. They were central to his life and his crimes. He owned 2 Gulfstream jets and for
Two
one of
jets?
Boeing 727-200, the so-called Lolita Express. Together, the aircraft were worth an estimated 25 to 30 million. Also kept
Yeah, he had way too much money though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like, how do you get to the point where you bought your island? Yeah, exactly. If you're rich, bro, like, I'm not surprised people do this because it's like, eating babies is a bit mad. Like,
Okay, that's crazy.
I wouldn't eat a fucking child, like a newborn baby, yeah. But like, Diddy pies, bro. Fuck yeah. You know what I mean?
No, I don't know why Diddy didn't do that on an island. He would have got away with it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, but he just do it in his fucking mansion. And how isn't there like an investigation around all that? I know there is, like, he's in court and stuff like that, in and out of court, but is he in prison?
Who?
Did he now? Yeah.
Pretty sure he is.
Yeah.
No, you just probably get bailed out every time.
That's
He
not
doesn't have
how-
money to do that.
That's not how it works.
No?
So if your
Some things
crimes
can't
are like
get bailed
severe
out,
as
yeah.
fuck, you can't get bailed out.
Yeah,
Like-
something you can.
2 helicopters, and a small fleet of luxury vehicles, 7 Chevrolet Suburbans, a cargo van, a Range Rover, a Mercedes-Benz sedan, a Cadillac Escalade, and a Hummer 2, to name a few.
Don't know what they are.
Across his properties, high-end furniture and expensive art were everywhere. One home was even designed by a French interior decorator known for working with royalty. It all pointed to serious money. And that was just what he let people see. His exact net worth was unknown, but it certainly ran into the hundreds of millions, maybe even over
billion.
$1 billion, as his lawyers would later claim. In 2025, Senator Ron Wyden.
Alright. Like, completely off topic. What would you do with $1 billion, Bailey? Because
So I don't want to live like big. I'd probably get I would get like a mansion, but not a huge mansion, just a nice little chill mansion.
Yeah.
Live in LA somewhere. I wouldn't want to spend all my money at once. I'd probably like live like a normal guy.
yeah, fair enough.
Get some food. I won't overspend it. You know.
Yeah.
Make it last.
Yeah. What I'd do, I'd probably get an island.
Ah.
I'd buy an island. I think island's a good part. And I'll probably like manage people's taxes and stuff like that, just to keep the income flow going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd invite like
Yeah.
famous people to my fucking island. You know, stuff like that.
Oh well, I'll have house parties.
For legal reasons, this is a fucking joke. Okay.
Biden released a partial summary indicating banks that had flagged more than $1.5 billion in Epstein-linked transactions. It detailed thousands of wire transfers running from the early 2000s through 2019. The money moved through a network of offshore entities, Russian banks, women from Eastern Europe, Israeli tech companies. It was a long trail. And this was a man who started as a math teacher. who
Fuck off!
somehow
Wait, Epstein was a math teacher.
Okay, that's insane.
Yeah, I didn't know. Imagine. Oh, I
That's
can't fathom it. Because imagine being in his class. Oh, that's Mr. Epstein, bro.
That's actually insane. Okay, that's insane.
That's
Like,
wild.
What type of dad laws that? Oh, my dad. Yeah, like,
My dad went from Walter White to basically did a Walter White, like, in real life. That's mental.
landed a job at a prestigious school without a degree. In 2008, following his first arrest for sex crimes, he received what's been called a sweetheart deal. It wasn't just the deal of a lifetime, but one that seemed to defy belief and undermine the U.S. justice system. Despite investigations showing that he had trafficked dozens of victims to his Palm Beach mansion, he only got an 18-month sentence.
What?
Not the kind that any other inmate will ever experience. Instead of state prison, he was sent to the Palm Beach County Stockade. At his lawyer's request, he was first placed in a separate dorm, and then he moved to the Stockade's infirmary. The infirmary had never been staffed before, but for Epstein, men and women were hired to fill it. A
Right.
captain even ordered his cell door left unlocked and arranged what the media called liberal access to a private attorney's room with a TV. Many of his victims were poor, recruited from local high schools with the promise of easy money. Within months, he was out on work release for up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week,
What?
even though offenders like him are not supposed to
So
get
this
that
guy
privilege.
just slept in the
Deputies
prison.
assigned to him were told to wear suits and repeatedly referred to him as the client rather than inmate. He paid the sheriff's office about $128,000 for this bespoke security while he worked at a non-profit office that he had created, an office deputies helped him find. Epstein always claimed to be a man of the arts and study. He also claimed to be doing humanitarian
Yeah, we do know someone else who wanted to be a painter. He didn't end up very good. It should have been a sign or something, bro. Not gonna lie.
Nah, money really does get you anywhere, bro.
What do you mean by get you anywhere? Like,
How you go into prison for like 18 months and instead of just being there, you're only sleeping there.
yeah, bro. Bro, just don't be a painter in this day and age, too. Because
Bro, the
you
German
got...
artist was the good guy. He was a good guy. You can't say anything of us.
Nah, bro, don't start.
work as a global
Yeah.
philanthropist. But in truth, his foundations were a smokescreen, a front to obfuscate the reality of his life. As the New York Times would say, his fake charity was an image boost built on deception. If he did donate, it was for selfish reasons, and he often exaggerated how much he gave. On those work release days, deputies sat at the reception desk while he met visitors behind closed doors. Logs of these visitors were later destroyed. Deputies were instructed to greet him on arrival, and at least 9 times he was allowed to go to his Palm Beach house.
Like,
It
what?
wasn't just bending the rules, it was throwing them out the window. He used his own driver, stacked up dozens of outside appointments, and made at least 69 doctor visits in 6 months. He was being
Okay. 69.
You
Doctor,
just going to the doctors for fun, bro.
69 visits. Is that not a sign?
That is a sign, but in
Bro's
6
a
months,
sex trafficker.
In 6 months, it's crazy too. He must
Yeah.
go there.
Literally, bro.
treated like a VIP, and that was just in Florida. Just one of the properties where he took his victims.
money blew for kids, I
Yet
guess.
in a pattern that would repeat itself when detectives searched the house. The computer equipment and hard drives were gone. A detective later said in a documentary that it was obvious Epstein or someone protecting him had been tipped off and removed the equipment. Epstein's longtime Palm Beach butler, Alfredo Rodriguez,
Okay, no. Ad blocker trying to fight it, bro.
had the infamous Little Black Book. Almost 1,600 names, 5,000 phone numbers, and thousands of emails and home addresses. Celebrities, scientists, politicians, oligarchs, princes, and princesses.
What?
Rodriguez said he was intimately familiar with his boss's depraved routines. He claimed he saw a lot of nudity around the pool, regularly cleaned and put away sex toys after Epstein's massages, and
Brilliant.
disturbing content on Epstein's personal computer. But because he tried to sell the book to lawyers for $50,000 instead of giving it to law enforcement, Rodriguez was sentenced to prison. 13
Yeah, that's
months
fair
later,
enough.
He died of cancer at the age of 60, and he wasn't the only one. In the years after Epstein's first arrest, more than 24 people closely connected to him or his crimes would also die. Some were young, among them at least 3 victims and a former cellmate, fueling the conspiracy theories that followed. The evidence and testimonies of the victims could and should have sent Epstein away for years.
Yeah.
Alexander Acosta, then the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, negotiated a federal non-prosecution agreement with Epstein's legal team. The deal granted Epstein immunity from federal prosecution, and unusually, this extended immunity to any potential co-conspirators.
Like,
The
this
Justice
guy was
Department's
just too
internal
rich.
watchdog later wrote
Bro.
that the agreement was intended to end the ongoing federal investigation. In effect, the FBI's probe was shut down and the slate wiped. No federal charges were brought, and the agreement meant prosecutors didn't have to publicly name anyone involved. According to the Daily Beast, a former White House official later claimed that Acosta told Trump transition interviewers, "I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone." Still, in the Justice Department's 2020 review, investigators asked Acosta directly if he had any knowledge of Epstein being an intelligence asset. He said no, and the review reported no evidence of the
Yeah,
contrary.
but
Even so,
do you think he had ties with the government, then?
I think so. I think
Brilliant.
he did.
I don't know.
Wait, he was friends with Trump, right? And then
Yeah, he was friends
apparently-
with Trump.
I'm pretty sure they argued, didn't they? They had some beef.
Something like that, bro. I don't know, because
But I'm pretty sure after they had beef, they only did it because Trump got caught doing something. He had to try and get rid of him.
yeah, it could be.
something seemed very rotten in the state of Florida. State Senator Lauren Brooke didn't like what she had seen, telling the media they are supposed to uphold the law regardless of who a person is, how much money they have in the bank, or who they had on their airplane. But this was America, where money doesn't just talk, it can drown out every other sound. His sudden
fucked,
death in
bro.
a jail cell on a night when the cameras mysteriously failed and
Yeah,
guards
yeah, his death was really weird because, like, apparently he killed himself. He hung himself, didn't he?
That's crazy.
Yeah, he hung himself, and it was really weird because, like, all the cameras went out the lot, and it was just fucking like, how does that happen?
reportedly fell asleep raised serious doubts. And when a second autopsy said it looked like he had been murdered, even casual observers began to wonder if something far darker was at play. To understand what wasn't right, we need to shine a spotlight on his life. Epstein was born on January 20th, 1953, in Brooklyn, New York, the first of 3 children. His mother was a homemaker, his father a park attendant and gardener. They never had much money, but to friends and neighbors they seemed like a happy, well-liked family. Jeffrey attended a working-class school where he skipped 2 grades and graduated at just
How?
16.
Yeah,
He was smart, often making money on the side by tutoring other kids. He was described as a slightly nerdy, chubby kid who excelled at math and playing piano. He certainly wasn't the kind of boy who anyone ever expected would one day get involved with serious crime. He studied at 2 universities, including NYU's Courant Institute of Mathematical Sciences, but never graduated. Despite this, he still managed to land a job in 1974 teaching
wild.
math and physics at the prestigious Dalton School on Manhattan's Upper East. The likely reason, he may have lied on his resume. An alternative theory is that he was groomed as an intelligence asset, but there is no
groomed,
evidence for that.
as in raped, or can I say raped? I don't know. But groomed is crazy, bro.
He might also just have been smart and impressed the interviewer. Regardless, Dalton was where New York's elites sent their children. It was the kind of place where old money ruled, where you found the who's who of New York high society. Just before Epstein joined Dalton, the headmaster was Donald Barr, the father of William Barr, the future attorney general who oversaw the Justice Department when Epstein's 2007 sweetheart deal was reviewed. Officially, his contract ended the day before Epstein's began, but staff later suggested Barr may have been the one to hire him, as he was known for bringing in unconventional teachers. Still, there is no hard evidence connecting Barr to Epstein beyond coincidence. Long before Epstein's crimes came to light, he was already rubbing shoulders with powerful men whose children would grow up powerful too. As for his teaching, accounts were mixed. Some former students remembered Epstein as smart and charismatic. Others described him as smarmy, sleazy, and unqualified. Several recalled how he surrounded himself with girls outside of class,
Yeah, that's a
something
bit
they
wild.
found inappropriate.
Wait,
There was
children
a
or
mild
what?
sense of creepiness, one said. So there he was, a poor kid whose talents had pole vaulted him into the rarefied world of New York's elites. He made a name for himself, and not only for academics. In 1975, the Dalton paper wrote that at a PTA event, Mr. Epstein proved himself to be the ivory showman on the piano. He made sure to impress those wealthy parents, including Alan Ace Greenberg, the chairman of the investment bank Bear Stearns. After 2 years, Epstein left Dalton. Some accounts say he resigned, others that he was let go because of poor performance. Epstein soon landed on Wall Street, at Bear Stearns under the guidance of Alan Greenberg. The firm prized PhDs, poor, smart, with a desire to be rich. Epstein advised clients on tax implications of their portfolio inside one. Just 4 years later, the Wall Street Journal printed the name Jeffrey E. Epstein as one of the new limited partners at the firm. That was the same year that he was featured in Cosmopolitan magazine as the Bachelor of the Month, the first of several articles that would be published about him over the years, discussing his many talents. The Cosmopolitan story said this 27-year-old maverick was a financial strategist who talks only to people who make over $1 million a year. The short write-up called him a New York dynamo who was seeking a cute Texas girl. Money and sex were seemingly already the chief motivations of his life. In 1981, Epstein left Bear Stearns. It's not certain why, but according to one of his former associates, it was because he had been discovered executing illegal operations.
Bro.
Epstein would later deny this, and the evidence is lacking. For a while, he became a fixer, a financial bounty hunter, helping wealthy people get back money they had lost to fraud. It'd been reported that during this period, he would brag about being well-connected. He certainly wasn't the archetypal financial expert. Among his possessions were fake passports, allowing him to move around the world under a cloak of anonymity.
Yeah, because
a
there were so many
criminal
people
act
looking
that
for him.
requires powerful connections. One Austrian passport featuring his real photo but a false name even listed his residence as Saudi Arabia. One of his clients
Yeah, but he had residents like around the world. Like he had places he could stay around the world. It was really weird.
was the Saudi businessman Adnan
But he
Khashoggi,
traveled uncover
a
somehow.
billionaire and arms dealer. Nicknamed the Great Gatsby of the Middle East, he threw lavish parties for the rich and powerful. Known to royalty and wealthy American businessmen, Adnan Khashoggi played a central role in the Iran-Contra affair. The U.S. led covert arms trafficking to Iran, with profits funneled to arm the cocaine-funded Nicaraguan Contras.
Fuck.
Through a clandestine network he called the Safari Club,
So he was connected
what
to
some
drugs
critics
too.
dubbed as a second CIA, Khashoggi was deeply entangled with Western intelligence. He also maintained strong ties to Israeli intelligence. None of this proves Epstein worked for any intelligence service, but it does show that he moved in circles that often overlapped with people who did. Chief among them was the disgraced British media mogul Robert Maxwell. Over the years, records and reporting have him linked to MI6, the KGB, and Mossad, though definitive proof of his status as an asset has never surfaced. Even so, the UK Foreign Office suspected Maxwell was at least a double agent, and probably a triple. Stephen Hoffenberg, founder and CEO of Towers Financial Corporation, later claimed it was he who introduced Epstein to Maxwell.
I'm back.
He also alleged that the British intelligence had hired Epstein, but Hoffenberg made those claims from prison after being convicted of running a $450 million Ponzi scheme. Epstein worked for Hoffenberg as a consultant and would later be called a co-conspirator and architect in his scheme. Nonetheless, Epstein was never charged, and there was no proof Hoffenberg was right about what he had said about Maxwell and British intelligence. As a consultant, Epstein was earning about $70,000 a month in today's money, at least on paper. Records show that at the time, Epstein had to borrow $700,000 to make a $1 million investment on top of the $300,000
So bro was
he already
making
had.
money
It
moves.
suggests he hadn't yet reached the level of mega wealth that he would later flaunt. Whether he profited from the Ponzi scheme is unclear, but it's hard to believe his claim that he wasn't even aware of it. By the 1990s, he seemed to come into money fast. His management firm, J. Epstein & Co., soon claimed to handle the assets of the global elite. The operation grew quickly. At one point, he had 20 accountants and a slew of assistants who people later said always seemed very young and very attractive. To onlookers, the office could look more like a harem than a place of trading. He boasted that he took only clients with over $1 billion. A mere $800 million would get you a snub, which was and still is completely unheard of in financial circles. As one friend put it, I sent him a $500 million client and he wouldn't take him. The account was too small. Who those clients were has never been revealed, and how Epstein truly made his fortune remains murky. As one veteran investment manager put it, the trading desks didn't seem to know him. It's unusual for animals that big not to leave any footprints in the snow. If Epstein really amassed vast wealth, his business left no public trace, not even in Bloomberg. All Epstein himself admitted was that people had entrusted him with very large sums of money. Beyond that, there's no evidence that he ever earned clients millions or billions through his legendary trading skills. Epstein did have one known billionaire client, Leslie Wexner, the L Brands and Victoria's Secret chief.
Oh, fuck.
With power of attorney over Wexner's fortune, Epstein may have enriched himself, but that alone doesn't explain how he amassed so much wealth, enough to sit on prestigious boards or to casually write a $9.1 million check to Harvard, funding what became the Epstein Program for Mathematical Biology and Evolutionary Dynamics.
So he knew his shit.
As for
He knew his shit.
Yeah.
He was fucking smart. Like, what you
You
met,
were-
because you went, obviously, you missed loads. It was like saying, like, how he, like, it explained him in school and what the students would say about him. So they'd say, like,
Yeah.
they said, like, he was dodgy as fuck, basically.
How is he?
Yeah, apparently he was really fucking dodgy.
That's great.
Which-
Trusting
it does make
the wealth of a
sense.
man he barely knew,
Yeah.
it just didn't make sense. One Wexner executive later said, almost everyone wondered who Epstein was. He literally came out of nowhere. A former employee said that he was that mysterious person that everyone was scared to death of. Yet no one understood how he'd been handed the keys to the kingdom. The two men went from strangers to thick as thieves. The Manhattan townhouse, it ultimately passed from a Wexner-controlled entity to Epstein for a nominal sum after Wexner had paid around $13 million for it in 1989 and spent millions more on renovations. Epstein later moved the property to his Virgin Islands company, Maple Inc., for $0. Epstein also invested alongside Wexner in the ultra-high-end New Albany development in Ohio,
Like,
where Wexner
Well, I
had
don't understand. He's English, but he worked everything in America. He didn't do nothing like England or Britain or anything like that.
Yeah.
an estate. One victim later said that she was sent there and Epstein kept a mansion of his own nearby. By then, there were already complaints about Epstein posing as a Victoria's Secret talent scout and abusing the association, a role he never officially held. As early as 1997, a young woman reported that he had interviewed her under that pretense. This was the first time that anyone went to the police about Epstein's sexual misconduct. Police investigated and called it a he said, she said scenario. They later said the victim withdrew
Bro.
the complaint, something she has always denied. In time, Wexner accused Epstein of misappropriating vast sums of money. Wexner and his wife were in turn sued by shareholders who claimed that they had allowed Epstein's influence to grow unchecked. Even months after Epstein's 2008 conviction, their financial ties had not been fully unraveled. It would take
Epstein?
another 18 months before Epstein
Huh?
was
That's not Epstein.
finally
Yeah, that
cut out
is a-
Wexner's business life. It was clear Epstein did what he wanted. That included a long-running partnership with French modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel. Epstein bankrolled Brunel's MC2 model management. A victim later said the agency functioned as a front for trafficking women. In 2020, a year after Epstein's death, Brunel was arrested in Paris on suspicion of serious sexual misconduct and trafficking.
Fuck.
In 2022, he too was found dead in his jail cell.
Oh, fuck.
His death in custody didn't involve sleeping guards or faulty cameras, but it certainly added fuel to the theories that were now burning holes in people's minds. Some of Epstein's money and access may also trace back to Robert Maxwell, father of Epstein's longtime partner and accomplice in crime, Ghislaine Maxwell. Robert Maxwell was a Holocaust survivor who fought with distinction in the British Army after the Nazis killed his entire family. After the war, he built a sprawling media empire, operating in a world where business, politics, and intelligence seemed to blur. Over the years, he'd been alleged to have had contacts with MI6, the KGB, and Mossad, with claims that some of his companies doubled as fronts. But Maxwell's career ended as mysteriously as it began. In 1991, he was found dead after falling from his luxury yacht, the Lady Ghislaine, in circumstances still considered suspicious to this day.
Yeah, it's a bit odd falling off your yacht, like. Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
Fucking adverts, bro. They're throwing me.
Soon after his death, investigators uncovered that Maxwell had looted hundreds of millions from his company's pension funds, leaving thousands of British workers destitute. His daughter Ghislaine, already close to Epstein, rejected the inquest's conclusion that her father had simply suffered a heart attack, fallen overboard, and drowned. With her father gone, Ghislaine's presence at Epstein's side only grew, helping to cement his image among the elite. In 2002, New York Magazine dubbed Epstein a man of mystery, one of the most dazzling single men in New York. How he made his fortune was anyone's.
Yeah, but he was glorified, because if he was in, like, magazines, everyone knew about this guy, bro. Man of mystery. Like, you broadcasting it to fucking everyone in the world.
Yes, and had been for years. A decade earlier, in 1992, just after he began appearing with Ghislaine, the British tabloid Mail on Sunday asked, "But what is he? Property developer, concert pianist, math teacher, corporate treasure hunter, stockbroker, merchant, banker, or globe-trotting businessman?"
Huh?
Maybe he's Johnny Sins.
Oh, yeah.
He was
He's
known for
everything.
flying Nobel Prize-winning scientists on his private jets. And around the time of that New York profile, he even took actors Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, along with former U.S. President Bill Clinton, on a trip to Africa aboard his customized
Fuck, why do I
Boeing
keep yawning?
727, nicknamed later the Lolita Express. One of his most regular visitors to the New York townhouse was Ehud Barak, former IDF chief of staff, defense minister, and Israel's prime minister from 1999 to 2001. Barak visited repeatedly. In one note, he called Epstein a collector of people, adding, "You are like a closed book to many of them, but you know everything about everyone." Epstein also cultivated ties with Prince Andrew, the wayward British royal. As New York Magazine put it, most everyone on the street has heard of him, but nobody seems to know what the hell he's up to. And that, the article suggested, was exactly how Epstein liked it. What was known is that Epstein spent significant time in London and traveled constantly, logging around 600 flight hours a year. He was often accompanied by young women, allegedly brought along to surface VIP passengers. When at home, he dressed casually, and most mornings began with a long yoga session with his personal instructor. After that, he might be meeting the Trilateral Commission or the Council on Foreign Relations, both circles he moved in, or he might be out with the rich and famous. But he never drank. He didn't like drugs or alcohol. What he did like was schmoozing. Asked about Epstein in 2002, Donald Trump said, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy." One victim later said that she was recruited after being spotted while working at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort, but how close the two men actually were remains disputed. Author Michael Wolff has said Epstein told him in a 2017 interview, "I was Donald's closest friend for 10 years,
Whoa.
and that Epstein called him the Trumpster."
The
Trump
Trumpster.
has
I'm the Trumpster. The Trumpster.
called those claims smears. Wolff says he recorded more than 100 hours of interviews with Epstein and has seen compromising photos, but he hasn't released the tapes, and no such photos have surfaced. If Epstein did have compromising material on past and present politicians, the fallout could cut across the political spectrum. Wolff's view is that the case is too hot to handle, a scandal that could stain American politics on both sides. But Wolff's credibility has long been questioned, with critics pointing out his history of factual errors. In fairness, Epstein's VIP connections don't make them all guilty of anything by default. But for sure, Epstein did collect rich, brilliant, and powerful people the way others collect rare art. One favorite
Wait, so
was
he
Bill
collected
Clinton.
people?
Epstein once called him the world's greatest politician, and Clinton returned the compliment, describing Epstein as a highly successful financier and committed philanthropist. As noted, the two traveled to Africa together on what were said to be humanitarian trips for the Clinton Foundation, talking about how they worked on combating HIV and empowering the poor. Clinton said via a spokesperson, "I especially appreciated his insights and generosity." If that's true, there was a very different side to Epstein than the person his victims talked about. Had Epstein fooled Clinton, or something worse? In 2019, like Trump, Clinton said that he knew nothing about Epstein's crimes. U.S. media reported Clinton flew on Epstein's jet as many as 26 times during 6 separate trips, sometimes without Secret Service on certain legs. It's also been alleged he took Epstein's helicopter to St. Thomas. Clinton denied he visited the island, contradicting the testimony of now deceased victim Virginia Giuffre. To date, however, there is no physical evidence that either Trump or Clinton committed crimes. Also, Ghislaine Maxwell was recently reported as stating in transcripts that no illegal activity ever happened regarding Trump or Clinton. Whatever the case, the facts available show us Epstein moved among incredibly powerful people. Back in New York, he often hosted afternoon tea for his VIP guests. Manservants in black jackets and white gloves guided guests past bizarre paintings and even a tray of prosthetic eyeballs before leading them to the so-called leather room.
What the
Their
fuck?
leopard skin
What goes on in the lever room? The lever room.
chairs faced
Is it a
an
ditty room?
exotic woman smoking opium while stroking a snarling lion skin. None of his meetings were mentioned in his emails. He rarely emailed anyone, once saying, "I like to hear voices and see faces when I interact." He rarely ate out with people too, calling the habit like eating on the subway. People who knew him said he was almost pathologically private. Even in the phone book, he used a pseudonym. He was described as an iceberg. What you saw was not the whole deal, not even close. He wanted people to think he was an enigma, when the reality was far more prosaic.
These fucking ads, bro. I've had enough of it. It's pissing me off. I cut the ads out of the video.
He was a rotten criminal, hiding in plain sight. He played the man of mystery part, all the time playing people like they were pawns on a chessboard. Even when the net was closing in on him, his untamed ego made him believe he was always one step ahead. As for Ghislaine, the queen to his imaginary kingdom, no one ever really understood how close they were. She was said to be his soulmate, yet they didn't live together. She was often intimate with him, yet he almost always surrounded himself with other females. Oxford educated, she was said to be funny and articulate. If he was the quiet manipulator sitting at the boss's table, she was the PR department. She was also a conduit to Britain's elites. But the friends list didn't stop there. Epstein had ties to Democratic Senate leader George Mitchell, who once said, "I would certainly call him a friend and a supporter." He met with Bill Gates on numerous occasions, including after his initial arrest. He met with former CIA Director William J. Burns. He counted Nobel Prize winners Gerald Edelman and Murray Gell-Mann among his acquaintances. He was also friendly with the former president of Harvard, and he moved in the same circles as Woody Allen, Michael Jackson, and David Copperfield.
Fuck,
It's
MJ,
hard to
bro.
know who
Oh
joined
yeah, he was in the
Epstein's
files too.
circus of depravity,
Yeah.
and who was just another name in his little black book. Whether they joined in or not, anyone around Epstein could see he was almost always surrounded by women. One acquaintance recalled that many seemed foreign and dressed a little bizarrely. At one cocktail party Ghislaine Maxwell organized for Prince Andrew, a guest later admitted she was horrified by the number of weirdly dressed Russian models. To those who suspected he was up to no good, he acted untouchable. His message to digging journalists was stark. When journalist Vicky Ward interviewed 3 girls who'd become Epstein's victims for a Vanity Fair story, he threateningly told her, "That makes me unhappy." He subsequently attacked her integrity, even sending fake letters allegedly from Ward's witnesses to the editor. Maxwell delivered similar threats to girls and women who thought about speaking out. One woman whose complaint about what happened to her and her sister was ignored by law enforcement said Maxwell warned her that her life would be destroyed. She moved home several times, yet Maxwell somehow always found her and kept calling her at home, making it clear that they knew where she was. In 2025, the same victim sued the Justice Department, the U.S. Attorney's offices, and the FBI for negligence in failing to help her and her sister. She's the witness who said Epstein once showed her the surveillance room in his New York townhouse. Monitors on every room,
What?
the beds, the bathrooms, the entire house. So who was Jeffrey Epstein? Ari Ben Menashe was a former arms dealer and ex-Israeli military intelligence officer. He later turned whistleblower, exposing the murky world of covert geopolitics. And he has claimed that Epstein did in fact work for Mossad, the same agency he alleges assassinated Robert Maxwell. He said, Epstein was intelligence. He was running a classic honey trap operation, and yes, Mossad was involved. In Ben Menashe's telling, Epstein's life was carefully engineered to ensnare the powerful, with the compromat stored away in a Mossad archive. If true, it would be a wrecking ball for countless careers and for the public's trust itself. Until concrete evidence surfaces, it's impossible to say if Epstein was an intelligence asset. And when it comes to his alleged clients, more proof is still needed. After all, there is always reasons that someone might want to smear someone else. As for the so-called client list, Ghislaine Maxwell has flatly insisted it doesn't exist. She also said there are no videos that could be used for blackmail.
Yeah, but now all of them motherfuckers have been released. So
Yeah.
they're kind of cucked, bro.
from
Yeah.
Epstein's surveilled properties. Still, she isn't exactly regarded as trustworthy among the world's public. Her contention that sexually inappropriate contact between Epstein's guests and in-house masseuses never happened and contradicts victims and witnesses. What we can say is that he began as a working-class kid obsessed with money and became a mass abuser of females. The Venn diagram of Epstein's life overlaps with covert geopolitics and men whose decisions shape the world, but as far as public records show, there is still no confirmed proof he was acting as a blackmailer for any intelligence service. At least not yet. The truth may be out there, but it could be so incendiary that even if partly exposed, it could start a fire that's hard to extinguish. For that reason, if the theories are true, it is highly likely they will never come out in full. Now that you know who Jeffrey Epstein really was, the bigger mystery remains. Why can't we see the full truth? Find out in
That was a
Real
fucking
Reason
good
the
video,
Epstein
bro.
list
I was
will
like
never
locked in
be
behalf
released.
most
Or
of that
click
video,
on
bro.
this video instead.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a good video.
That shit was like, fuck.
Yeah.
That fucked my head up. That no, because he was like, oh, I can't even think it. 'Cause I can't comprehend. Like, what was it?